So lesson 12 is based on the distributive property. I'm seeing that some people were using the distributive property in the other lesson, just when they saw parentheses. So there was a problem that looked like this. Okay, so there are parentheses, but careful, there's not there's difference between the one above and the one that I'm writing below. So if you're thinking to yourself, all right, which one am I going to use distributive property, where I'm going to, use that word FOIL, which we don't use anymore, it would be in this one, because this operation, that when they're touching, when two things are touching, I think that they're together, they're married, so they're multiplying. There's an addition sign here. So for those who are, doing this thing, the rainbow thing, we're not doing that. There's an addition sign. So basically, you're kind of just distributing the positive sign to the term after it, but positives don't change the sign of anything. So here we would just combine like terms. We could drop the parentheses and combine like terms in this case. So this would be, you can rewrite it without the parentheses so it doesn't confuse you, but we would have 4x plus 5x is 9x, 3 plus 2 is 5, okay? And that would be your answer. So for this lesson, you guys are just going to take notes with me. This is kind of like, we do problems. You're going to follow along. You can do them on your own, or you can listen to the whole video and then submit your work to me. That we do here. So we're going to do the odds. We're going to do odd problems that I've found and created, 1 through 25, I think. And again, you can go ahead of me. You can go to the video where you just need the help. We're going to start with number 1. So again, whenever you see a number outside, you see a number or term connected to a set of parentheses, that's when you're using distributive property, and this whole lesson is distributive property. Okay, so let's start with the first one. 4 times x minus 3. You're going to distribute that 4. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12, but it's a minus, and that's going to be your answer. Okay, next one. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times a negative 4 is a negative 8. And then we just slap the y on there. These still aren't like terms, so that's your answer. Okay, so you guys are showing me work and the answers for this to get full credit. If I only see the answers, you're getting a 5 out of 10. Next, same idea. The x is just in front of the parentheses, so we're going to distribute just the x. So careful, x times x is x squared. X times 2, and pretend there's like a minus 1 in front, is a minus 2x. We always put the number in front of a variable. And going back to exponent rules, when you multiply two things with the same base, what do you do with the exponents? You add them. So this would be technically x to the 1 plus 1, which is x squared. So that's how I got the x squared here. And this is my answer because we can't combine those. Next one. Distributing the y, because the y is outside the parentheses. So we would get, and again, we're not putting an equal sign. We're not solving for anything. We're just simplifying an expression. So we would get y times x. You could put yx, that's fine, but in math, we use the alphabet as like an order. So it would technically be, the right way we would do it is xy, putting x first, because x comes before y in the alphabet. And then we have minus y times y squared. So we have minus y, and I'll just do it out, times y squared. So remember, when you multiply two things with the same base, what do you do with the exponents? You add them. So we have y to the first, basically, because we have 1y, and we have y squared. So then you would add these. 1 plus 2 is y to the third power. And just because they both have a y doesn't mean that they're like terms, because they have different exponents. So you would just leave the answer like that. Okay, so x times y minus y to the third would be your answer for that one. All right, let's keep going. And if you have questions, comment on the work, because I am online to answer your questions. Don't just sit there if you're confused, and don't just, write it just because you're seeing it. Okay, if you have a question, let me know. Next one. So we have two things here to do, but we're still doing distributive property because we have a number outside a set of parentheses. So we're going to distribute the 2 only to this pair. Let's do that first. So 2 times 3p plus 2 times 2 So we get 6p plus 4. And I'm just showing you the work. You don't have to show me this work, but this is like the longer version of me showing you distributive property. Then we're doing another part. This is just the 3 to these inside parts. So 3 times 2. We can do plus 3 times, careful, negative p. Right, there's a negative p there. So we have plus, this is going to be 6, plus negative 3p. Or you can do minus 3p, whatever you want to do. So don't leave your answer like this. You can combine like terms. So what can go with 6p? What else has a p in it? Negative 3p. So 6 minus 3, technically, is we're left with 3 p's. And then we can combine the 4 and the 6 to get 10. Okay? So again, all I did was show you the work I did with distribution. And then I simplified it, but then I also combined like terms after. So don't leave your answer if there's terms that can be combined. Number 11, same idea. We're going to distribute the 2p. So now we just have a coefficient that's 2, and there's a variable. So then our answers are just going to get like, there's going to be more exponents. So we're going to do 2p times p plus 2p times 2. The other side, we're distributing the 3p inside, multiplying, plus 3p times 2p plus 3p times a negative 3. Okay, so make sure you write that down. So here we get 2, and then remember p times p is p squared, plus 2 times 4 is 4p, plus, and then let's do this side. We have two numbers, so 3 times 2 is 6. P times p is p squared, plus or minus, right? We have a 3 times 3, which is a negative 9, and then we add the p there. So numbers go with numbers, letters go with letters. Don't, match them up. And then when you do a letter times a letter, if it's the same letter, it's with exponents, exponent rules. Google the exponent rules if you don't remember. And we've talked about these in our lessons. But I've just explained it. But you have a lot of resources to help you here. All right, let's make sure we can't combine any like terms, but we can. So this has a p squared and this has a p squared. So we're allowed to add them together. If they have the same variable, and then variables look similar, right? We have a p squared and a p squared. They can go together. A p squared and a p cannot go together. So this one would go with this one. So 2p squared plus 6p squared is 8p squared altogether. And then how many p's do we have? 4. Technically minus 9 because it's a negative would be minus 5p. And we can't combine those because one has an exponent and one doesn't. So they're not like terms. So that is your answer. Okay, make sure that's all down. You don't need this step. That's just me showing full out what I'm doing. But you do need the third step in the answer. Okay. Next one. Again, multiply. So we get 2p squared. And then you can do these on your own if you don't want to keep listening to me. But for some of you, you like following along. So this is what I'm doing here. Minus. And so this is the step that you guys can show me doing in your head kind of thing. Combine like terms if you can. Let me see if I did this right. I forgot something. This has a p in it. 2p times negative 3. Okay, good. Combine like terms. So this one can go with this one. This one can go with this one. So 2 plus 9 is 11p squared. Negative 6 minus negative 6 is negative 12p. All right. So this one looks like that's the answer, but you're basically just practicing distributing that negative sign. So there is something in front. It's technically like a -1. It's an imaginary -1. So you're just going to distribute it to the inside. So a negative times a positive is going to be a -x. Negative times a -3 is going to be a +3. So you're kind of just inversing the inside. With this one now, it's a -2. It's not just a -1. So we're going to do the same thing. So -2 times 3, and then plus -2 times -4y. So we get -6 here, and then plus 8y, right? The numbers go with the numbers, letters go with the letters. All right, same idea. So remember, an x times x is x squared. It's going to be negative, because negative times a positive is a negative. And then we get -x times -2 is a +2x. So all I did was multiply the -x into both. Okay, this is the answer here. All right, next one. Same idea, multiply inside. Okay, these are letters, so they just go next to each other. They're not the same, so you're just going to list them out. So if you did this in order, it would be -y times x. And then plus -y times -y squared. Remember, if you're multiplying a y to the first and y squared, you're technically adding those exponents. So now you have y to the third. A negative times a negative is a... Diana, what's a negative times a negative?
X.
Positive. She doesn't learn those yet. Okay. So we get our answer is going to be, and you can put -xy or -yx. I won't take off points for that. Plus y cubed for this one. That's your answer, right? You can't combine those like terms. Those are not like terms because one has an x, one has a y, one has an exponent. Okay, let's see. 2 more. This is the last one I'm going to do with you. You can try the last one on your own. Actually, you guys do these. So you'll do 23 and 25 on your own because hopefully you've watched me this whole time. Same idea, right? Distributing that stuff in. So you're going to submit all this work and you're going to have a good weekend because this is posted Wednesday. And it's due Thursday night by midnight. Fridays are Feel Good Friday. So that's where you can get bonus points and just some recognition. So I'll post about what Feel Good Friday is going to be. Sometimes you're going to post something. Sometimes you're going to comment something. Maybe it's a competition. Maybe you're going to make a TikTok. Who knows? All right. So email me if you have any questions, but I hope this helps.